Determination in Undertale and determination in Deltarune are the exact same thing. The big difference between Undertale and Deltarune is that in Undertale you play as the creature who has the most determination out of all creatures, while in Deltarune many other characters have more determination than you. In Undertale your choices matter because you have the most determination. In Deltarune your choices don't matter because other creatures have more determination than you and can override your choices. In Undertale there are multiple different endings depending on your choices because you have the most determination and you can choose what ending you get. In Deltarune there's only one ending because other creatures have more determination than you and they get to choose what ending we get. Now there is a small asterisk. You can maybe change the ending if you get more determination than everyone else. If you manage to get into a state where you have more determination than everyone else, then you can choose the ending. In Undertale you can save and load the game yourself because you have the most determination. In Deltarune you can't even load your own save files. You need to call like wdgaster to load the save file for you and do everything because you don't have the determination to load your own save files. In Undertale you're at the top of the determination hierarchy. In Deltarune you're in the middle of the determination hierarchy. So in this video we will be giving a comprehensive overview about determination in Undertale and Deltarune. There will be spoilers for everything in Undertale and spoilers for chapter 1 to 4 of Deltarune. What is determination? There are different meanings the word can have. In common usage, determination refers to a personality trait, and you exhibit this personality trait if you can try a difficult challenge over and over again without giving up. There's also a little wordplay that determination could refer to the undoing of termination, and in this sense it would mean that you undo death. And a third thing it can mean is the power of a will to determine the fate of the world. And now this sounds a little bit weird. To understand this meaning of the word, we should understand what determinism means in philosophy. So in philosophy there is a discussion about free will versus determinism. Determinism is the belief that everything in the world is predetermined and cannot be changed, while free will is the idea that we can change what we do ourselves and that we can freely make choices. These two positions are incompatible. If we live in a deterministic world, then nobody has free will because all choices are already predetermined. Now in Deltarune there is a big theme about freedom and versus determinism, but the question is phrased slightly differently. In Deltarune we do not ask whether we can make choices at all, but whether we can make choices that matter. Deltarune presupposes that we can make choices, but that all the choices we make will in the end be for absolutely nothing, because in the end the ending will be determined by something completely different that just overrides our choices. The power to make choices that matter, to impose one's own will, and to determine the fate of the world is called determination in both Undertale and in Deltarune. So how do you get determination? So firstly, every creature innately has some determination. In Undertale, humans have more determination than monsters. In Deltarune, lightners have more determination than darkners, usually. And additionally, you can get determination from souls. If you fuse yourself with other creatures, you get more determination. If you stand at a save point, you are filled with determination. In Undertale, this is explicit. In Deltarune, it just tells you that you are filled with a certain power and that a certain power shines within you, but don't be fooled, this is still determination. You can get determination through levels, through love. In Undertale, this happens by killing monster. In Deltarune, this is super confusing because there's a light world level and a dark world level and they're separate, and you can also get stronger through violence, but this doesn't increase your level. So in Deltarune, the level is currently very unclear how it works, and additionally you can get determination from shadow crystals. Now the effects of determination are manifold. You can use determination to load save files, to override the choices of others, or at least make choices that matter yourself. You can use determination to control bodies if you ever find yourself in a body with other souls. You can use determination to shape reality. This works particularly well if there is a lot of darkness. And you can use determination to break through barriers / create dark fountains. Now you might ask, why is this a single point instead of being 2 points? And the reason why this is a single point is because it's the same thing. Breaking through barriers in Undertale and creating dark fountains in Deltarune are equal. The reason for this is the way these worlds are structured. So in Undertale you have the surface and you have the underground, and in Deltarune you have hometown and you have the depths, and the depths are just directly below hometown and are filled with darkness. And in both cases you have a magical barrier which separates the underground from the surface. Now in Undertale this is explicit. In Deltarune this is quite a bold claim from me, but I think this is correct. And like the main thing which supports the idea that we have the depths directly below hometown is this prophecy line, a world basking pure light beneath it grew eternal night. So we have darkness everywhere directly below the surface in hometown, and the question is, why doesn't it break out? And the reason it doesn't break out is most likely because there's a barrier, a magical barrier preventing the darkness from spreading out into the light world. And dark fountains are creating by breaking through the barrier, and to break through the barrier you need determination, just like in Undertale. So in Undertale you need determination to get through the barrier or to break parts of it, and in Deltarune you need determination to break through parts of the barrier. And if you break through parts of the barrier, then darkness spills out from the depths up to hometown, and then you have a dark fountain. So breaking through barriers and creating dark fountains are actually the same ability, and that's why I'm putting them in the same point. Now let's look at the individual things you can do with determination. The first thing is loading save files. Loading save files is something you can only do if you have the most determination of everyone in the entire world. If you have the most determination of everyone in the entire world, then you can load save files and determinate yourself after death. In Undertale we play as Frisk, who has the most determination, so we can load save files ourselves. Interestingly, save files are created not under Frisk's names, but under Kara's name. So Frisk is creating and loading save files for Kara. In Deltarune we do not have the most determination, so we cannot load save files ourselves, but we have a nice deal with WD Gaster, and he's happy to load save files for us whenever we need it. This also proves that Gaster has the most determination, because only if he has the most determination can he possibly load save files. Save files are created under our name, but Gaster is the one managing them, so in both Undertale and Deltarune the one who is actually managing the save files is not the one who puts the name on the save files. But we can now definitely say that if we make a Deltarune determination tier list, Gaster is on the very top because he loads the save files. Next up, in Undertale's neutral routes, we can also see somebody else loading save files, and like this will not be shocking, like everybody knows it. But in Undertale's neutral route at the end, Flowey teams up with 6 human souls, and together they have more determination than Frisk, and because of this, Flowey can then create save files and even erase our save files and so on. Now let's look at overriding choices. Creatures with more determination can override the choices of creatures with less determination. So if you don't have a lot of determination, then your choices might not matter, because somebody with more determination might just override your choices. So in Undertale we have the most determination. Our choices determine the fate of the world. There are many different endings depending on our choices. In Deltarune we do not have the most determination. The choices of other characters with more determination than us determine the fate of the world. Our choices do not change the ending unless we get a lot more determination somehow. Okay, so for example, Susie repeatedly overrides our choices, and this proves that Susie has more determination than the soul. So in our determination tier list, Susie goes directly above the soul. Now in the Undertale genocide route, we can also see something interesting with choices being overwritten. In the genocide route, every time Frisk kills a monster, Kara gains XP and level increase your determination. So every time Frisk kills a monster, Kara gets more determination. And so throughout the genocide run, the determination of Kara slowly increases while the determination of Frisk stays the same. And at the end of the genocide route, Kara has more determination than Frisk. And at that point, Kara can override our choices, Kara can override the choices of Frisk. If Frisk chooses to not destroy the world, Kara will just say, you're not in control, I will destroy the world, your choices don't matter. And this mechanism where Kara takes away your choices and Susie takes away your choices in Deltarune, this is the same mechanism. In both cases, you just have somebody who has more determination than you overriding your choices. Okay. Now let's talk about controlling bodies. If multiple souls are in the same body, then the body is controlled by the soul who has the most determination. Now there's always some conflict whenever this happens, but usually the soul with the most determination wins the conflict. So our soul can control Chris's body because our soul has more determination than Chris. Chris can sometimes take control over for very short periods of time, just long enough so they can whip out the soul if we don't pay attention. And after Chris has whipped out the soul, then they're free to do whatever they want with the body. It's just that while Chris is possessed, they have trouble acting on their own. So in the determination tier list, Chris goes below the soul because they get controlled by us whenever the soul is inside them. Flowey has more determination than each of the 6 individual human souls, so Flowey gets to control the Omega Flowey body. However, if 6 human souls combine themselves together against Flowey, then they can take over control of the body because together they have more determination than Flowey. In the genocide route, at the beginning of the genocide route, Frisk has more determination than Kara. And Kara can't control anything about Frisk's body, but as the genocide road goes on, Kara gets more and more determination, so Kara can make more and more choices with Frisk's body. So, for example, at level 6, Kara starts walking around during cutscenes, during which Frisk would usually stand still. At level 19, Kara starts giving dialogue lines in wet text. And Kara also does the killing blow to Sans. Kara takes over control of Frisk's body in this situation, and later Kara also takes over control of Frisk's body when they kill Escor and Flowey. Now let's talk about shaping reality. This is a bit of a broad topic. Determination seems to be just a general form of magic where you can just sometimes do whatever you want. With determination, if you have a lot of it, you can shape your body in weird ways, and you can shape worlds, and shaping worlds works particularly well in dark worlds. So shaping bodies, you can use determination to make yourself look like Omega Flowey if you have 6 human souls. You can make yourself look like Ezreal Dreamer if you have 6 human souls and all monster souls, or you can make yourself look like the god of Hyperdeath. And if you have level 20, you can make yourself look like Kara and revive Kara's dead body out of nothing. So this is shaping bodies. Also, the Roaring Knight does a lot of shapeshifting, and it's possible that this is determination. Maybe this is something else, but it might be determination which allows the Roaring Knight to shift around like that. Another interesting thing with shaping bodies is in Chapter 4 Weird Root, in the scene in Noel's house. The face of Quiz gets weirdly distorted. My theory about what happens here is that the soul changes the face of Quiz in such a way that they can't see or hear anything, so that they can't offer any meaningful resistance against what we are doing to Noel in the scene. Determination can also melt bodies, yeah, whatever. And now let's get to shaping worlds. Shaping worlds is particularly easy in dark worlds. By default, a dark world is just empty rocky terrain without any darkness. But if you have will and determination, then you can use it to shape how the dark world looks. And this is most easy when the dark world is just being created at the moment. You can also shape the light world a little bit. So in the Weird Root scene in Chapter 4 with Noel, the lighting changes and there's some wind in the light world. And this seems to be caused by the determination of the soul. However, changing the light world is much more difficult than changing the dark world, usually with determination. Some other interesting examples of dark worlds being shaped is Javel uses the shadow crystal he has and the determination from it to change the Card Kingdom dark world inside his prison cell. So the Card Kingdom is mostly shaped by the will and determination of the knight. However, in Javel's prison cell, he can completely override the will of a knight and do whatever he wants. A similar thing happens in the Weird Root in Chapter 2 when Spamton gets the Shadow Crystal. Queen's Mansion heavily changes because Spamton imposes his own will on the mansion. In Chapter 3, the Dark World turns into stone halfway while playing through it. And the reason is that Quiz doesn't have a lot of determination. The way the TV Dark World is currently is at the left you have like some generic Dark Worlds with like these wooden paths which look like nobody imposed their will on it, and on the right you have all the snow which looks like nobody imposed their will on it. So the TV Dark World where Quiz actually imposed his will, their will is pretty small and it doesn't last long. So Quiz not only gets controlled by the soul, which is a sign they have low determination, we also know they have low determination because they make terribly short-lived dark worlds. On the other hand, the Roaring Knight is a proficient fountain maker who makes dark worlds which last very long and which are very expensive, which kind of shows that the knight has a lot of determination. Now let's talk about breaking through barriers. Both Undertale and Deltarune have a barrier separating surface from underground, is what I claim. And determination can be used to break through that barrier. So in Deltarune, we have a world bathed in purest light, beneath it grew eternal night. We have a light world on top, and below it we have darkness. And in both cases, I think they are separated by a magic barrier. So both are separated by magic barriers, and in Deltarune, the depths below the barrier are additionally filled with darkness. And if you have determination, then in Undertale you can go through the barrier. Deltarune, if you have determination and you have a sharp object, then you can poke holes into the barrier with a sharp object. And if you do this, then darkness flows up from the depths up to hometown, and this creates a dark fountain. And once this happens, you can additionally impose your will on the dark world, and then you have created like a dark world. In Undertale also, if you have a determination population of 7 humans, you can completely destroy the barrier. In Deltarune, if you poke lots of hole in the barrier, then it will eventually shatter, and this will be the roaring. If the barrier gets destroyed, then all the darkness which is bubbling below Hometown will just come up everywhere, and the whole ground will be torn apart by darkness. Also, in Undertale, if the barrier isn't broken yet and you want to get out of the underground, you need the combined determination of a human soul and a monster soul. Now, I'm not sure how this exactly works in Deltarune, but maybe you need the combined determination of a lightner and a creature from the depths to get back out of the depths if you ever fall into the depths. You can, of course, fall into the underground and fall into the depths without requiring any determination. Okay, that was all the abilities of determination. Now let's talk about some other topics. Firstly, how will Deltarune end? And the main candidates for determining the end of Deltarune are Susie and the Knight, because those are the only ones who really have enough determination to change something, except in the weird route. In the weird route, Noelle is also a candidate, but on the main route of Deltarune, these two have most determination, except for Gaster, who doesn't care about anything. And at the beginning of the game, the Knight has more determination than Susie, so the fate of the world is darkness. However, if Susie ever manages to get more determination, either by gaining love or by gaining shadow crystals, then she will eventually have more determination than the Knight, and then the fate of the world becomes more hopeful. We also have a conflict over Quiz's body. At the beginning of the game, the soul has more determination than Quiz, and the soul puppeteers Quiz's body. But if Quiz ever manages to gain enough love or shadow crystals that they have more determination than the soul, then they will be able to control their own body, even if the soul is possessing them. And for some reason, they need the soul, like we have some phone calls in chapter 4 suggesting they can't enter dark worlds without the soul, and so on. Quiz wants to have so many shadow crystals that they can just control their own body even if they have the soul. And finally, Ralsei has no identity of his own, and this is partly tied to the fact that he has no determination whatsoever, but if he ever gains some determination through shadow crystals or something else, then he can develop his own will and his own identity. And that's the video.